So this is where it happens, right? So right at touchdown. So we're at front foot strike, okay? And it's funny too, because I think majority of kids struggle with the opposite, which is early hand. So at least you're giving yourself an opportunity to increase your natural rotational energy, because look at your trunk. It hasn't gone anywhere, right? But the problem is, and it's no accident, no offense, that you've had rotator cuff, elbow stuff, because now all of your energy production is isolated and independent, meaning your body, let's just show you. So your body now, see that move? Your body is now shifting forward, hand disconnects, right? So now you're not able to efficiently leverage your arm through the zone. So what you have to do to create energy and velocity and acceleration is overuse this thing, right? Because you're a little bit disconnected. And you'll notice just by the head posture, kind of rotate or pull into your rotation. So more specifically, when we talk about leverage, just notice how like you're 2 frames in to front foot strike, okay? This is where we would be leveraging our arm with our body if we were connected. Notice how you're not in any real good amount of shoulder external rotation, okay? Now, this is James Paxson. Just look at this. So this is the difference, okay? So he's leveraging his body, right? So his hand's a little bit more connected. So this is front foot strike, boom, okay? So he's higher, right? Not saying that's bad or good, but his hand is obviously higher. But now he gives himself an opportunity to now leverage the arm pulling through the zone with the body, okay? Now, I tried to compare someone that had like a similar slot, because the slot will create a little bit of difference and deviation. But just notice he comes down to front foot strike. Where is it? Right there. And he's now in external rotation. And now all that's going to happen is he's going to rotate his trunk, right? So he's going to rotate around his spine, and his arm's going to be pulled through basically by his rotation, basically by his body, and not trying to aggressively pull his arm. He throws 97, 98, right? He's obviously got to have to do something, right? But that's kind of the biggest thing that jumped out was, okay, yes, we can talk about the timing. Yes, we can talk about how you're late. Great. What's that do? Well, it forces you to be inconsistent with your slot on a consistent basis. Well, think about that. Inconsistent with your slot on a consistent basis. Because like I said, sometimes maybe your landing and your acceleration is faster, so your arm speeds up and you get into a better slot. But then maybe you can't replicate that, right? So here's my thing, dude. The goal, and let's just kind of finish your throw. So, and then you actually recover nicely, right, with late launch and getting out into extension, good trail leg, good brace. It's interesting too, because a lot of times we see guys that have that mistiming, and they'll have to sacrifice like lead leg, brace, or something else. But like I said, dude, you move really well. It's just about like you've been doing it for so long and you haven't corrected the issue. So your body is just, your compensation is now motion memory, right? It's motor control. So here's my thing. I'm going to program a ton. And again, I'm like super passionate about the hands. I'm going to program a ton of progressions. It's what I call hand path simplicity and arm action efficiency. So the goal of our throw is to what? Be consistent with an efficient slot. Okay. Now I could say that nothing else really matters as long as you're consistent with that efficient slot, but that would be kind of a double negative, because in order to be consistent with an efficient slot, then you need to have all of these things that you're doing before the slot to be consistent as well. So if we're trying to maximize timing to get into that slot consistently, then I believe that our hand path needs to be relatively simple. Because here's the thing with you, man, is like, I don't think you need to change like anything with your motion, with your body. I just think we need to get your hand going. Okay. Like, so you separate your hands and you go down. Okay. So now as you go down, now there's that brief stall. Now you retract and you'll notice that the hand never gets up. Now, if you've been watching any of my stuff, you know that I don't believe in what people perceive as like a short arm action. Like, what the frick? There's no such thing. So let me try to find Billy Wagner. I know it's going to be different for everyone, but I just want you to notice this. So, you know, he did something right through 100. But just notice how as he separates his hands, he doesn't waste much time going down. Now we can talk about, yeah, he's got a little elevated elbow, but this is where we now talk about leveraging the arm through, right? So now you see a crazy amount of shoulder external rotation. But that's just what I'm talking about, the hand pass simplicity. Like, you separate your hands, and instead of having that mechanism, play around with just going, whoop. So now our body can maintain that acceleration rate that you have, which is good. And now we can get better timing with our hands because we don't have to go down, out, retract, up. I'm biased with this because this is the one mechanical change that essentially saved my career. As soon as I kind of just decreased the timing of my hands to the slot, I increased 10 miles an hour. Like, I'm not saying that was the direct reason, but I think there is something huge to that where it's like, what if you just separated at the same timing, right? Broke your hands at the same time, but now just break your hands there into your retraction, right? Separate, boom. So you're going to see a ton of stuff, dude. I have a ton of content on this. You're going to see a lot of really good progressions. You know, a lot of good blends, a lot of good throw variations. That's just going to challenge that athleticism of the hands.